For thousands of years, the Jewish people have walked through history carrying the memory of 4 great exiles, 4 storms that shattered kingdoms, scattered families, and tried to erase a nation that refused to die. Each exile came with a different empire, a different face, a different method, but all shared the same intention, to break the people of Israel. Yet every empire fell, and Israel remained. Now, in the modern age, a 5th exile rises, one unlike any before it. Not forged by armies, not carved by swords, but shaped by doubt, narrative, and the shifting winds of the world. This is the exile of the mind, the exile of legitimacy, the exile born from the children of Ishmael. The first exile came with the Assyrians. The northern kingdom fell beneath an empire that devoured nations without mercy. The Assyrians uprooted entire populations, scattering them across distant lands until their identities dissolved into the dust. The 10 tribes vanished, and the world believed the story of Israel was ending. But the story did not end. The second exile came with Babylon and Persia, a single imperial arc that reshaped the ancient world. Babylon destroyed the first temple and carried Judah into captivity. Persia inherited the exiles, ruling them with a mixture of tolerance and pressure. Yet even in foreign lands, the Jewish people rebuilt themselves. They wrote, they prayed, they remembered, and when the moment came, they returned. The world believed the story was fading, but the story did not fade. The third exile unfolded through centuries of foreign domination. Empires rose and fell, but the Jewish people remained caught between them, surviving by memory, stubbornness, and the quiet fire of identity. They endured because endurance was the only path left. The fourth exile was the one that cut the deepest. Rome did not simply conquer Judea. Rome crushed it. Rome destroyed the Second Temple, scattered the people across continents, and then struck a final blow. It renamed the land itself. Judea became Palestina, a calculated insult meant to sever the people from their home, to erase their name from the map of the world. Rome believed that if the land forgot them, the world would forget them too, but the world did not forget, and neither did the people. Every empire tried to erase Israel. Every empire failed. And now, in the modern age, the 5th exile emerges, not from Assyria, not from Babylon, not from Persia, not from Rome, but from the descendants of Ishmael. The Torah said they would become a great nation, and they did. And like all great nations, they learned, adapted, and changed their methods. At first, they tried to destroy Israel the old way. They formed coalitions of armies. They launched wars meant to wipe Israel from the earth. They used terror to break the spirit of the people. They rallied nations to join them, believing that overwhelming force could finish what ancient empires began. But every attempt failed. Every war ended in defeat. Every effort to erase Israel physically only strengthened Israel's resolve. So, a new strategy emerged, one far more subtle, far more modern, and far more dangerous. If Israel could not be defeated on the battlefield, then the battlefield would change. If Israel could not be erased by force, then it could be weakened by doubt. If Israel could not be conquered physically, then it could be challenged psychologically. The children of Ishmael began to understand that influence could be sharper than steel, that global opinion could be a weapon, that delegitimization could achieve what armies could not. They turned nations, institutions, and movements against Israel. They questioned the Jewish right to the land. They pressured the world to doubt what history had already proven. This is the 5th exile, not of land, not of borders, but of identity. It is the exile of self-doubt. The exile of relying on foreign powers for protection. The exile of waiting for the world to validate what should never require validation. And the only way the Jewish people survive this exile is by turning inward, by no longer depending on the approval of nations, by no longer seeking permission to exist, by no longer allowing others to define their destiny. The first 4 exiles tried to break Israel by force. The 5th exile tries to break Israel from within. What comes after this exile is already written. But that chapter belongs to another story.
A question to the Jewish people. When the world questions your legitimacy and the pressure of the 5th exile grows, will you stand united in identity and purpose, or will you repeat the ancient pattern of division that once opened the door to exile? A question to the sons of Ishmael Muslims. With strength, influence, and a vast global presence, will you choose a path that deepens conflict, or will you rise to the challenge of shaping a future built on dignity, wisdom, and the responsibility that comes with being a great nation? A question to the Arabs. Across borders, languages, and histories, will you continue to let old wounds define your stance toward Israel? Or will you step into a new era where leadership is measured not by opposition, but by vision? A question to Christians. As inheritors of a tradition rooted in the same ancient soil, will you recognize the weight of history and the shared origins of your faith, or will you allow politics and pressure to overshadow the values you claim to uphold? A question to atheists. In a world shaped by belief, conflict, and identity, Will you dismiss these struggles as relics of the past, or will you acknowledge the human story beneath them? The story of people fighting to define who they are, a question to the world. When narratives collide, when nations argue, and when identity becomes a battlefield, will you choose to inflame division, or will you seek understanding before judgment?